Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back. I'm sorry to scare you all, but yes, I'm back from the wonderful world of Schmutz Laaretz. America was incredible. I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah, you're looking at as much more of the Rabbi than you saw last time. And Baruch Hashem, I was fed well, and good memories, good times. I do want to share with you a small little story that happened to me last Wednesday morning. It's connected to my class. It's actually connected to my class. Tuesday night, if you don't know, maybe you live on a different planet. On Tuesday night, America, at least on the East Coast, went to sleep collectively at 2:40 a.m. And basically the whole country went to sleep at 2:40 a.m. And Wednesday morning, I went to the airport. Huge lines by Air Canada. And yeah, it was insane. And and it was just like this excitement. Everyone was talking to each other, like everyone was being friendly and discussing, and you could tell like the Trump people were walking out triumphantly, and it was a whole feeling of festivity. And I'm flying off to a place called Houston, Texas. There we go, Exhibit A to a Texan girl. I'm off to Houston, Texas. For that night, I am the speaker for the great challah bake, the great Texan challah bake. So again, if you're on a different planet, you may not have known that the Shabbos was the Shabbos project. Yeah. So you know what it is. I actually met Rabbi Lashak. Some of you know Rabbi Lashak. I met him at the Revolver's place in Houston, Texas. He's on the way to Costa Rica. 1,000 people are going to be at the Shabbos project in Costa Rica. Of course, I'm going to spend Shabbos in Denver. So some people have all the luck. You know what I mean? He says, Rabino, I told him in Denver, I said, I'm supposed to go, but I'm sending you instead. Like, he's going off to have fun. There was actually a volcano erupted in Costa Rica. So he had to go, I think, through Nicaragua with his mafia connections. He was, whatever it is, he somehow managed to get it. The point I'm trying to make is that I'm supposed to be speaking that afternoon, that evening, in Houston, Texas. And my gate is gate 138. And I, because I was so bleary-eyed, went to gate 128. And it's filled with people, and everyone is watching Hillary's concession speech. Wow. So what are you nodding your head?
I was at the airport watching that.
You were?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it was on.
But you live in Israel.
No, I was in Chicago.
I'm sorry to hear that. Okay. Welcome here. Welcome back. So you're also a little bit on the jet lag.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. Okay. So what's the point of my story? I'm watching, everyone's talking about she's wearing, what kind of a dress she's wearing. It was like black and purple, and Bill was wearing black and purple's a compromise color, and like, everyone was like, that was like a whole discussion. And I just came from Haredi land. I came from Yerushalayim. I had not watched TV at all. So it's the first time actually watching the elections, even though it's already over. So I'm very excited. And suddenly I look at my clock and I say, why aren't they calling us to get on the plane? And then I realized that I was in the wrong place. And I ran like crazy to the right gate. And I arrived just at that moment then when they closed the gate. They said, I'm sorry, sir, we were calling your name. I said, how did you call my name? Were you going like, Mr. Nissel, you're kindly invited to come to gate 138. That's not good enough. You should have screamed out, Nissel, you idiot, stop watching television. You got a flight to catch. That's the way you're supposed to be doing it. You know what I mean? Like, I was, the point I'm trying to make is that I missed the flight, and the next flight went 4 hours later, which means I'm missing the great challah bake of Texas. And I was very excited because they promised me I was going to make the greatest challah that Texas has ever seen and get into like the Guinness World Book of Records. But it was really upsetting because they were bringing me in for that reason. And I missed it because I'm watching Hillary. This is like pathetic. Hashem runs the world. There's one other flight which was so overbooked that they said, I think 7 people had to miss their flight for me to get on. They said, there's no chance that you'll get on that flight, but you've got nothing to lose. So I went and I waited. This was flight United Airways, flight 69 to Houston, overpacked, full. they need 6 people to, whatever, I think it was 6 or 7 people to miss their flight. And then came my own personal miracle, because apparently there was a flight from England, go Brits, okay, from England to Houston, and it had exactly 6 people on it, and they missed their connection to Houston. And I was the last person to get on that flight. In other words, all the standby people, they went in front of me, and then I got on, the last person. I sat between these 2 huge Mexicans. I was the happiest person ever. It didn't make any difference. And I made the flight, and I realized that how awesome is it? Hashem, for some reason, had to divert a flight from England to Houston so Menachem Nissel could bake challah in Houston. It's a crazy thing. If you saw, no, 1 second, no, the flight was going from England to New York. I was in New York at the time. I'm very tired. I feel like Morgan looks. And the point is that, yeah, that's the story. So why am I telling you this story? Because it happened last week, and it's a cool story. I managed to make Baruch Hashem. I managed to make the flight. The story had a happy ending. But it does connect to the wonderful world of tefillah. I'm not going to lie to you. I was davening like crazy to Hashem during that short amount of time, saying, Hashem, I want to get on that flight. You need to make sure that 7 other people have to miss that flight so that I can get on. Arrange it so that 7 other people, you do like your din v'cheshbon. So, an interesting thing, because we're not going to talk about this now. We're going to talk about this in 2 weeks' time. But what would happen if on that flight from England to New York, there were 7 people, and they were also davening, let's just say for argument's sake that they were Orthodox Jews, and they were also davening, they should make that connection. And I'm davening so they should not make that connection. So you have the clash of people davening in 2 different directions. I used to make this joke when, those you know about American football, when the Ravens have a Super Bowl with the Giants, so it's basically Ner Yisrael versus Yeshiva University. That's what it is. Who can daven harder? It's like the big clash of the 2 sides over there. The point I want to make is, the purpose of today's class is I want to talk over a hugely important fundamental idea in prayer. And then I'm going to go over what we said 2 weeks ago, and then we're going to join the 2 ideas together. And with that, we're going to leave this room, Be'ez Hashem, in another 35 minutes with a deeper and profound understanding of how tefillah works. And that's going to set the tone for the classes in the following weeks. Are we ready? Can we do this? Chicago girl, we can do this? We're ready? Okay, everyone's here happy? Senora is good? Okay, beautiful. Question. I have a question to ask you. It's not my question. It's the question already asked by the Rishonim, by the early commentators. I'm going to give you the answer of the Maharal of Prague. The question is as follows. Why bother praying? Surely Hashem knows what's best for us. I'll say it again, and as I say it again, I'll let the question sink in. Why should we bother davening? Doesn't it just make sense to tell Hashem, you know what's best for us, do what's best for us? In other words, the question is based on a certain premise, that we are the created, Hashem is the creator, we're here today, gone tomorrow. Hashem's at the beginning of time, at the end of time, He sees the full picture. He sees our lives from beginning to end. He sees our previous reincarnations, incarnations. He sees everything. So why are we asking Him for specific things? We should tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu and say, look, you know what's best for us. You see the whole picture. You see everything that happened from the beginning of time to the end of time. I know that you will do only what's best for me, so do it. Do what's best for me, and I'm not going to ask for anything specific. Let me explain the question a little bit better. The question is based on 2 assumptions. There's 2 basic assumptions in this question. So, assumption number 1, the essential nature of tefillah, of prayer, is asking for things. Let me go over this very, very clearly. I spoke a lot about this 2 weeks ago. The essential nature of tefillah is what's called in Hebrew bakasha, requesting things. This is in contrast to, for example, in Christianity, the essential nature of what they do in church is praising God. It happens to be a beautiful part of our religion as well. Praising God and thanking God. Praising and thank you in Hebrew is called Shevach Vahudah. So if you have a look at your Shemona Esrei is 18 brachos. It's actually, technically speaking, 19 brachos, because one was added at a later point. The opening 3 are praising God. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. You're a Melech, Oza, O Mashiach, O Magen. The first bracha, Abraham's bracha. We thank Hashem for helping us. Second bracha, we thank Hashem for bringing the dead back to life. Third is we praise Hashem because of Kedusha, of sanctity, and that we have the option of living a life of sanctity. At the end, the last 3 are the real thank yous. The first 3 are more praises. The last 3 are thank yous. Modem Anachnalach is the most famous of all. But that's not actual prayer. Prayer is asking for things. The world of prayer begins with Ata Chaynein La'adam Das. You ask Hashem for the ability to think, and it ends with Shema Kolenu, which we're going to learn together is like a joker in a pack of cards, where everything that you've not yet asked for, you can ask for. But the point is, from Ata Chaynein to Shema Kolenu are the essential needs of man. That is tefillah. That goes back to the ancient prayers when Adam opened his eyes and saw there was no rain, and he asked Hashem for rain, the first tefillah of humanity, that was called a bakasha. When the Jewish people were in Egypt and they cried out to God, so they were praying to him, that is bakasha. The essential nature of tefillah is bakasha, is asking for things. Again, if you remember from my last class, my definition of tefillah, I want to say it one more time, explain it maybe a little bit better. The definition of tefillah is the created standing in front of the creator saying, I cannot survive without you. The essential act of tefillah is that moment of vulnerability, of recognizing that without Hashem, we cannot cross a road safely. Without Hashem, we cannot put food in our mouth and just assume that the food will do everything the way it's supposed to. Everything that we have from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep throughout our lives is HaKadosh Baruch Hu's miracles taking care of us. So again, the essential nature of prayer is what's called bakasha. Bakasha is asking Hashem for things. Second point I want to make, and this is the second assumption in tefillah, is that the nature of tefillah is that we are unequivocal. Unequivocal is a fancy way of saying is that we're pushy, is that we expect Hashem to say yes. We always tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu, this is what we want, and we don't want to accept no for an answer. So I want to explain this a little bit, because there's a lot of confusion over here. You may have been taught by excellent teachers that whenever you ask Hashem for something, to always add the words, only if it is your will. Because maybe it's not the best thing for me. In our Shemona Esrei, we actually do that. At the end of the Shemona Esrei, we say, Yila Ratzon Imrei Fi. Let my words be your Ratzon. May what I'm asking be your will. In other words, if anything that we're asking for is stupid in your eyes, delete. Ignore. That's basically what Yila Ratzon means. We only want you to fulfill those things that you know is best for us. So you're taught that the best way to daven is to always tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu, only say yes if it's the best thing for us. Ladies, this is going to come as a shock to you. You're wrong. Real tefillah is unequivocal, meaning real tefillah, you do not take no for an answer. How do I know this? Because open up a chumash and look at every single tefillah that you can find, and there's lots and lots of them, and you'll see, like Rashi says in this week's parsha with Avram Avinu, that they used to fight with God to be able to get what they wanted. It was a pushy tefillah. They wanted to win. When Avram Avinu wanted to daven for stone, those lovely, cuddly, affable Sodomites, those beautiful people had Abraham fighting for them. Rashi says, Vayigash, he made his 3 steps, so to speak. Rashi says, L'mulchama, as if to wage war with God. He wanted to win. He did not want to take no as an answer. When the forefathers and matriarchs asked for children, they did not want to take no as an answer. When Moshe Rabbeinu was fighting for the Jewish people on top of the mountain, he did not want to take no for an answer. When Moshe Rabbeinu was fighting to go into the land of Israel, Hashem said to him, I beg you, Ravloch, Al Teisiv Oida Berila, I beg you, stop asking, because if you push anymore, I'm going to have to say yes, and I don't want to say yes. Tefillah of Moshe Rabbeinu is that powerful that Hashem felt that if he kept on davening more, there was already 515 prayers to get into the land of Israel. If he would push a little bit more, it would be terrible for everyone, for the whole world. So Hashem says, please don't daven more. The nature of tefillah is that you are arguing strongly for what you want. You do not want to say no for an answer. So for those of you who are confused, because it's not what you were taught, let me tell you what your teachers taught you correctly and how to see it in a proper perspective. I'll give you an example. There are girls in this room that would love to get married. Yeah, it's a good thing. Why not? You'd like to get married, okay? So you go out with a boy, and this guy is perfecto. 10, 10, 10. Everything is 100% perfect about him. So what do you tell Hashem? He should be the one? What do you guys say? He should be the one? Why do you say no? Okay, so a little bit of South African wisdom over here for the hot-headed Spaniards to my right. And that is that he could be perfect now, but 6 months into the marriage, you find out things that he may himself not know about. It could be that he himself doesn't know, just to be topical, that he has these control instincts that are going to drive your life crazy. He's going to be a person who's just like the worst thing for you. He could be a nightmare on two legs for you. Or whatever it is, these things happen. Trust me, unfortunately, I just came back from America. So a lot of things I do in America is, I'm not a professional, but I end up talking to young men and young women who are going through stuff in their marriages. A lot of these things could be, I'm not a professional, could be easily avoided. A little bit of common sense. But the point I'm trying to make is that very, very often, it's not the right person. Very, very often, you think it's the right person now, but you can, here I'm going to make a statement that everyone's going to agree with. You ask any person that got married in their early 20s, ask them on their 30th birthday, Tali, do not listen. It's not for you, newlywed, okay? But I'm saying to you, but you ask anyone their 30th birthday, what you were thinking when you were in your early 20s about why he or she was the right person, is it relevant to what's happening today? They'd all say no. Hopefully you'll say, but Hashem took care of us. It's a great marriage, but not because of the reasons that I thought. For other reasons, it works out great. As you get older and older, you'll realize that what you give to the marriage keeps on changing, and the needs of the marriage keep on changing. So what do you say to Hashem? If you're smart, you say to Kadosh Baruch Hu, may this be the right person only if he is the right person for me. But if he's not the right person, get him out of my life as quickly as possible. That's a clever girl. That's an intelligent form of tefillah. However, what happens if you want to daven for the right to get married? What happens if, God forbid, there's a decree upon you in heaven that you should become an old spinster and never be married? Do you want to fight that? I think you should fight that. I think that's something you should fight. I think that's something that's perfectly legitimate not to take no as an answer. I'll give you an example of where I would not take no as an answer. I have a vivid memory because I was so traumatized, it's part of who I am. When my firstborn son had a playground accident, he fell off a climbing frame onto a concrete floor, and he had concussion. And I was in Kolal, and I came rushing back, and I saw him being put into an ambulance. This is your little boychikel, and he is out, and he is going to get a CAT scan, and he's alive, but they're worried about brain damage. So I would not take no from God from an answer. I said, Hashem, if it's your divine will that my son should have brain damage, I accept. No, I do not accept. I will fight you, Hashem. That's normal tefillah. I will fight you. In the end, he had to have operations for hearing. He is partially deaf in one ear from that little accident. But his brain, oh my gosh, Bli Ayin Hara, his brain is great. He's far smarter than I am. It's not saying much, but he's incredibly bright. Bli Ayin Hara. The point I want to make is that if you look in the Chumash, when Moshe Rabbeinu does not say, God, if you want my sister to have leprosy, that's cool. No, it's not cool. I'm fighting you. Kelna Rafanala. I want you to heal her right now. So that's the nature of tefillah. Tefillah is pushing. Now we go back to the question. We realize that the question is now a little bit stronger. Because what happens if it really, really, really is not the best thing for you? That's not good. That's not good. What's your name? Livia. From where? Oy vey. Livia from Manchester. I want to ask you a question. What would happen if you went back to Manchester after you stay in the Vey? Now let's not pick on Liv. Liv, you have a sense of humor? You better do it. Because let's just imagine a theoretical Livia from Manchester. Not you at all. This is not you in the story. It's somebody just happens to have your name and happens to be from Manchester. And this girl, she comes back to Manchester after staying in some fictitious seminary. Let's call it Neve. And she wakes up in the morning and looks in the mirror. She's horrified. Like more than usual. It's like terrifying over there. Her face is covered with like green patches and huge big volcanic ash is coming out of these boils everywhere. She looks like she's a Martian. No, that's an insult to Martians. She looks like she came from Pluto. And it's just, her face is like this horrific thing. She takes like a brown paper bag, you know what I mean? You know, covers her face, cuts open the thing. She goes to the nearest doctor in Manchester. I think they have doctors in Manchester, is that right? They do. And comes to the doctor's office. And the secretaries ask her to take off the brown paper bag. And then they flee when they see what's underneath it. And then she goes into the doctor. And she's terrified because, of course, she wants to get married. And she wants to live happily ever after. And there she is, looking someone who is so hideous, it is an insult to Martians to say that she looks like she came from Mars. So the doctor says, you know, I'm sorry, but it's very obvious you just came back from seminary and you have a really, really bad case of liveitis. There is no known cure. You're going to have to look hideously ugly forever. Livia said, it's not nice at all. So he says, however, there's one medicine I happen to know that's not covered by the NHS, National Health System. England already has Obamacare, okay, whatever it is, okay, we already have that stuff. So it's not covered by the NHS, and it's going to cost you like £1 million, £1 million. But if you raise the money, you can take this pill, and you'll come out looking better than ever before. What do you say? Livia, are we going for it? We'll do a fundraiser here for you. People here like you. We'll raise the money, get together, get £1 million. We'll come along. Are you good? Are you good with this? Okay. A couple of us will have to like, you know, mortgage our houses or whatever it may be, but we're going to get the money. We're going to save your life. The money comes along, and then he takes out this pill. And as he takes out this pill, Livia notices from the corner of her eye another little box of pills, which happens by chance to be her favorite color, which is purple. Purple with little orange polka dots. This is Livia, okay? Ask her roommate. This is what she's into. Purple with little orange polka dots. Now, I want to ask you a question. At this point now, Livia turns to the doctor and says, Doctor, I have a change of mind. I want to have the purple pills. He says, why? It's not going to help you at all, but that's my favorite color. What do you think of Livia at this moment?
Really?
What?
Really?
Yeah, what do you think of her? Is she normal?
No.
Not at all. This is this fictitious Livia. So the point is, anyone think she's normal? No. But we do this all the time. We do this all the time. The poor doctor presses this, in America it's much more serious. He presses this magic button and suddenly, the cracks open and out come lawyers. Din, din. Din, din. And they make you sign all these things that no one takes responsibility for anything because you're going to be stuck with liveitis for the rest of your life. But we do this all the time. We tell Hashem, this is what we want. And if you saw the big picture through Hashem's eyes, you will be thrilled to be getting this. And you'd realize it's the best possible outcome you could ever have. And Hashem is really taking care of you. You just have to see the bigger picture. So this is already something that is developed by Reb Chaim of Volozhin. Reb Chaim Volozhina says that if you ask for specific things, it could easily backfire. Not only are you asking for the wrong things, but those wrong things are against Hashem's ratzon, and you can end up completely and totally messed up. I always tell this with careers. Everyone over here, I imagine you go to university, so it's your last final. You do not want to fail this final. It's perfectly normal for you to tell Hashem, I want the right questions to come up, and I don't want the person sitting next to me to smell of rotting corpse, or whatever it may be. You want to be able to focus on your exam and to do well. Does that make sense? Yeah, but what happens if Hashem wants you to fail? Why? Because he wants you to work for your Uncle Arnold, who has a small little company, and you're going to start off as a secretary, but you'll slowly move your way up. And then when Uncle Arnold passes the whole company over to you, you're going to make it into a Forbes 100 company and make hundreds of billions of dollars and send your Meiser money to Navay or something like that. That'd be a great story, but it never happened because you davened to have to become an accountant or whatever it was. The point I'm trying to make is that going back to the Maharal's question, which we now understand on a much deeper level, the essential nature of tefillah works. Hashem listens to what you have to say. Hashem, oh yeah, we spoke about this 2 weeks. Let's not forget this. Hashem has a midah kol shma kolenu. Hashem wants to say yes to your tefillos. In 2 weeks, we're going to ask the question, what happens when Hashem says no? But we expect Hashem to listen to our prayers. Hashem likes to say yes, and you're asking for the wrong thing, and you're being pushy, and you're being unequivocal. Why do we do this? Why do we do this? And everyone does do it, and you should do it. If something is burning on your heart and you really want it, you're expected to turn to Hashem and ask Him for it. There's an incredible, incredible tshuva of Rav Moshe Feinstein. Rav Moshe Feinstein asks the following question: is it a mitzvah for non-Jews to pray to God? Now, I don't know who's in this room, but it's possible that some of you, this could be your dad. Does he have a mitzvah to daven? Does he have a mitzvah to pray? So what would you answer? Not there. It's not in the 7 Noahide laws.
Couldn't it be related to it? Like not worship?
That's what Moshe Feinstein says. One of the Noahide laws is belief in God. He says it cannot possibly be that you believe in God and you don't turn to Him with your needs and your stresses. It is part of your belief. If you believe in Hashem and you really believe that He can do whatever He wants and you don't turn to Him in prayer, there's something wrong. There's something missing over here. But now, which is adding to the problem, is that you could be asking for the wrong thing and the whole thing could backfire. So I want to say over something very, very deep. And to do that a little bit, I want to go back to what we spoke about in 2 weeks, but just take it, as Rabbi Tetz would say, a little bit deeper. Okay? We're just going to go a little bit deeper, if we may. Bereshis, in the beginning. Bereshis, 2 beginnings. Do you remember 2 weeks ago we explained when Hashem created the world, He created the world on a twin-track system. So let me tell you how I like to say this over. I have a story that I tell over only once, no, I think more than once, 2 or 3 times, when I'm dealing with kids who have difficulty in focusing. Like in an NCSY situation, I will tell the story as if it's true. Though here we're adults, I'm telling you right now, this story is made up. You'll see how it's made up. Part of the story actually is true because these things tend to happen to me. The story begins with something that could well have happened, that Menachem Nissel is flying from England to New York. And because I do so much travel, I get an upgrade, so I get to go first class in British Airways. Absolutely brilliant. And this story happened about, must be 10 years ago. And as I get on the plane, there's a lady next to me who everyone is making a big fuss about. And I have no idea who this is. So I turn around to the stewardesses and I say, am I supposed to know who this woman is? And she looks at me and she says, what, do you live on a different planet? That's J.K. Rowling's. You never heard of J.K. Rowling's? So like, whoa, have I heard of J.K.? I'm reading her books. I'm reading her books because that's where my students are. So I'm reading these books, and now I'm sitting next to this lady, and I'm on the way to National Yarchikala in New York. I'm going there next month. You know what that is. That's where I first met you. I have pictures to prove it. So the point is that this story happens somewhere between book 6 and book 7. And I said, I cannot lose this opportunity, because it's not often you sit next to a celebrity. It's not often you sit next to a celebrity that the kids are excited about. And I'm not going to take up much of her time, because I know in my own sweet little way how annoying it is when you just want to just go to sleep and just be ignored and take your shoes off, and then you, Rabbi Nissel, is that you? No, Hashem, why me? Why me? And I'm just little me. She's like the real thing. So I figured I could take up 3 minutes of her time. Does that make sense? 3 minutes? It's not like a big deal. So I turn around to her, take a deep breath, and I say, JK, I know you just want to go to sleep, take your shoes off and relax, but I'm going to ask you for 3 minutes of your time, because I want to tell you something, that your books help me explain this incredibly difficult Maharal of Prague. I had no idea what you're talking about. I said, yeah, to explain the Jewish concept of prayer, I use your book. He says, I have no idea what you're talking about. I said, let me explain myself. You created this amazing, amazing concept called Station 9 3/4. Excuse me, Platform 9 3/4 to be more exact. Which means, for those of you who no comprende what I'm talking about, if you go to, is it King's Cross?
You were talking about Harry Potter's...
Harry Potter, yeah, indeed, yeah.
Read that, so.
It's fine, but I tell you exactly what you need to know. The world is divided into 2 types of people. Regular people, who we call them muggles. And then you have the magical world. Now, how do you get from the regular world to the magical world? Platform, okay, 9 3/4. You see a wall, and you see all these funny little people wearing, carrying their owls and their broomsticks and stuff like that. And they come to this wall, and then they focus, and they focus, and they come rushing in, and then everyone else hits the wall. But you actually get through, and you come out on the other side, and there's a bright red train that takes you to Hogwarts, where you learn interesting things. You learn magic. You don't learn boring things like Mexican history. You learn, you learn, the goblin uprisings of the 19th century. You don't learn chemistry, you learn potions. You don't learn engineering, you actually can fly. You just take like a broomstick, you know what I mean? Or you just apparate, or b'diavad, you can use the flow system. It's incredible what goes on. You don't, if you go to the army and you learn how to use a gun, here you have defense against the dark arts. This is like really cool stuff. You can do everything there except cure Harry's myopia. No one can explain to me why he needs to wear glasses when you can just like regrow a whole forearm. Anyhow, so I explained to her, I said, this is incredible. You have, okay. Maybe you want to like focus on the camera on her. Send it to her mother. The story is that Station 9 3/4 is where it all happens. If you can get through Station 9 3/4, then the magic happens. Then everything is possible. Everything is possible. But as long as you're just a muggle, you're stuck with the laws of nature, with the boring laws of the muggle world. And I said to JK, this is incredible. Increíble. How can it be that you go through a station and suddenly you're in the same time, the same space as everybody else, but now you've entered into a world of magic? That's exactly what happens in the world of tefillah. But instead of having station 9 3/4, what do you have? Uno, dos, tres. You're in. That's it. Once you're in, it's the world of magic. Anything can happen. It's the world that's so incredible and so amazing and so beautiful that our very wonderful Livia from Manchester, she can ask for the purple pills with yellow polka dots. Or was it orange? Orange polka dots. And she can become healthy again because Hashem can really do everything. Now, whether it's a good thing to ask for these things or not, that's my class in 2 weeks' time. How much you can be pushy in your tefillos and ask Hashem to mess around with the natural order of things. Generally speaking, we do not like to do that. But to ask for the statistically impossible, to ask for the proverbial throwing double sixes in a row, that is what tefillah is all about. All of tefillah is asking Hashem for magic. My definition of magic is the statistically impossible. For example, you're going to take an operation. Someone's taking an operation. The doctor says, I'm sorry, but only 1 in 10 people survive. So you daven, you can become that 1 in 10 again and again and again. You open up a new business. Today, everyone's trying to write an app. And you're going to write an app, but only, let's say, 1 in 10 of those apps are actually going to make it into the popular imagination of the purchaser. You can always be that 1 in 10. If you say a little small army of people wants to take on the superpower of the day, the Mir Yeshiva takes on the United States Army, what are their chances of winning? 0. But it happened. It happened in history. What's the next big festival coming up? Hanukkah. So we saw it happened. And we're going to learn together, hopefully, that they used the power of prayer to do this. They were daveners. We see these things happen. Just to finish off my story. So, J.K. Rowling says to me, that's fascinating. Do you have anything else to say? I say, I actually do. I said, now that I've got your attention, I said, this is between book 6 and 7. I know 7 is going to be your last book. And I know for sure that in the last book, good is always going to vanquish evil. I don't know how it's going to be, but there has to be some kind of a showdown between Harry and he who may not be mentioned, Voldemort. There has to be like that final battle of good against evil. And then there's a happy ending. So now take my advice. Because I happen to know my students, when you finish the book, have a teeny weeny little appendix to tell people an epilogue. What happens like 20 years later? Who gets married to who? Everyone wants to know like the social side, find out who has kinderlich and who gets happy and whose marriage works and everything like that, and have like a little happy ending in the end. And then I told her, if you want to do something really good, and really make your life worthwhile, at the very last paragraph of your 7 books of Harry Potter, have Harry get up and say, you know what? All this magic and witches and wizards, this is all nonsense. I'm leaving Hogwarts and I'm going to go to yeshiva and learn Gemara. That's what I'm going to do. And then you would have earned your place in the world to come. So anyhow, she said, thank you so much. Can I go to sleep now? And of course, that's when I woke up, because this whole thing was a dream. Okay, Morgan, I told you right up front, the story was not true. Indeed. But the point I want to make is that it really does help me to explain the concept of double reality. Double reality means Hashem runs the world on a split level, that everything is basically 2 realities. Do you remember this from 2 weeks ago? Who did I draw? I've forgotten who it was. She's not here, over here. But 2 weeks ago, if you remember, I had the world. This is called the world of Teva, the world of the natural order. And whoever it was that I drew, it was sad. Because over here, you have what the Ramchal called the world of darkness. And here is Hashem's light. This is the world of miracles. But if you take 3 steps, which is station 9 3/4, if you wish, then you get, as Adele would say, you get to the other side. And there, everything is possible. Remember this? So 2 weeks ago, we called this place the Menachem. But now we understand that it is actually the world of miracles. It is the world of double sixes. I was looking at camera, so you can see my artwork over here. That all you have to do is take those three, and there, everything is possible. The point I'm trying to make is, once again, like I said 2 weeks ago, the challenge is not the power of tefillah. The challenge is how to take 3 steps, is how to get through. Once you're in, you can ask whatever you want. And Hashem will listen. If Hashem says no, we're going to have to discuss this in 2 weeks' time, but you can assume that Hashem says yes. And one thing is 100% certain, Hashem wants to say yes. His ratzon is to accept your tefillos positively. That's how Hashem runs his world. So it comes in, that you enter into this world, and there all kinds of extraordinary things can happen. Hashem, with his genius, can take a plane going from England to New York, have it delayed, because for whatever reason, 7 people, he wants them to miss their flight, so that Menachem Nissel can be at a challah bake and talk about the power of Shabbos. All these things are possible. Because Baruch Hu can manipulate anything he wants. He can turn the tables inside out and upside down for your benefit if he so chooses. Everything is possible with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now we go back to the point I made 2 weeks ago. But let me just summarize how I've answered my question. What was my question? Why bother davening if Hashem knows what's best for you? Well, the words Hashem knows what's best for you has got 2 answers. What's best for you in this world over here, in audio-visual aid, A, the world of nature, is different from what's best for you over there. What's best for you over here is Hashem looks at you through the lenses of Teva. Teva, as we said 2 weeks ago, Ha-Teva is Gematria Elokim, the same numerical value as the hidden God, who runs his world through the reins of nature, through the power of nature. And therefore you are subjected to regular statistics. That's the world without prayer. There, Kadosh Baruch Hu does what's best for you, like he does with the animal kingdom, the survival of the fittest. Like I told my little boys, my little kinderlich, when they were children, we lived in Memphis for a short while, and they got to see The Lion King. I said, this is fiction. In real life, when the show is over, everything goes back to normal. You know those cute little cuddly animals? Timon, Pumbaa. They get eaten by lions. That's the real world. I'm sorry, I just ruined your childhood. But that's what happens in the end. They all live happily ever after. The big animals eat the little cuddly, sweet animals. That's nature. But if you can take your 3 steps, if you can go through the proverbial station 9 3/4, ladies, please do not visualize platform 9 3/4 when you daven mincha. It's just a mashal, it's just a parable. When you take your 3 steps and you're in, there you're in a world where Kadosh Baruch Hu runs his world differently. So therefore it is a good thing when you daven to ask Hashem to change the world around for your benefit. Tefillah is the solution for all our problems, because tefillah accesses the world of miracles. Now, stay with me. What did I teach you 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, I showed you from the words of the Ramchal that tefillah is the natural place to make a relationship with God. Remember this phrase from 2 weeks ago. Don't ask the question, why, how can I make a relation with God so that I can daven? Rather, we daven so that we can have a relationship with God. Does that ring a bell? Thank you very much. So, just like in a dating scene, you don't want to date in a bus stop, you want to date in a hotel lobby. The same thing with Hashem. You don't want to talk to him while you're stuck in traffic in Manhattan. You want to talk to him in a way that you're focused, having taken your 3 steps, doing it the way you're supposed to do. Now, 2 weeks ago, my conclusion was a relationship with Hashem is naturally found in the world of tefillah. Today, I'm telling you that tefillah is the way to solve your problems by accessing the world of miracles. Now I'm going to ask you, which of these two ideas is the dominant idea? Is the reason why you make a relationship with Hashem is that together you can fix the world? Or is the reason why the world needs fixing is so that we can make a relationship with Hashem? In other words, is the need for miracles the solution to finding God? Or is finding God the solution to creating miracles? Which is the dominant theme over here? Was it last week's class, the last class we had, or today's class? Today we're saying that whenever you daven, you can access the wondrous world of miracles. A little band of Maccabees can take on the Greek army and they can win. You can defeat all the odds. Menachem Nissel can get that flight from Newark to Houston to make the challah. All of this is accessing miracles. Or is the reason why we need miracles in the first place, it's just an excuse to get close to Hashem? The first or the second? What do you say? For those of you who said the second, you are insane. You're saying that all the problems of this world is just an excuse to get close to Hashem. The reason why Hashem allows sickness, and the reason why Hashem allows war, and the reason why Hashem allows poverty is just because He wants us to pray to get close to Him. It's insane, but you're 100% right. You are 100%, no, it's the last class. The answer is, and here, all the Sfarim say this very clearly, everything Hashem does in this world that is crazy, that Hashem makes us that we have to turn to Him. And every girl in this room, I don't even know most of you, but I know that your life is crazy. You know why your life is crazy? Loco. You know why? Hashem wants to keep you close. Hashem wants to keep, if He doesn't want to keep you close, it's not interested in you, you've got real problems. That was the curse of the snake that doesn't even need food. That's like the worst situation. When I live in Memphis, you go 50 miles in either direction and you see people that don't need to pray. Sure looks like it's going to rain down yonder. I'm going to watch some NASCAR. That's it. That's the exciting part of their lives. Morgan feels at home. Okay, but that's the point. It's the point I'm trying to make is that it's crazy. Hashem makes Allah because Hashem wants us close. The world to come is really that closeness that we create in Tefillah. Who says this? The Mesilas Yesharim in Perek Yutes. It says that the high that you can get from davening is a taste of the world to come, of closeness to Hashem. That simcha of the closest to Hashem you can find in the world of prayer. So it comes out that if you put the two classes together, you have the two pillars of what prayer is about. Prayer is a connection to God. Prayer is a solution to the miracles. But the reason why Hashem made this world needing to be fixed, the reason why we need to access the world of miracles is only an excuse to taste the world to come, which is that world of closeness to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the ultimate goal. It's good to think about that because, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, don't expect your life to be easy. You live the Torah life, your life's going to be a helter-skelter, it's going to be a roller coaster. I never wish to my kids to have an easy life. If you wanted to have an easy life, Hashem could have halved your IQ. No one wants that. Hashem could have made you a cow. And that would have been your life. Is that what you want? No. You want to be an adult human with challenges. And you're going to struggle. And you're going to win. And you're going to lose. And you're going to turn to Hashem. And constantly, as an individual and Klal Yisrael, as a nation, see how Hashem interferes to make this world into the perfected world. But that perfected world is what we taste a little bit in Tefillah, is the world of eternal closeness to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. May we be zocheh, may we merit to see this speedily in our days. Thank you so much. Next time, we're starting on a totally different direction. Thank you for listening.